What's going on, YouTube? Dano here. Just wanted to sound off about the Nick Bawden thing. If you're watching this, I'm sure you've already heard that we cut Nick Bawden. And mind you, in the last couple days, the dude went from being on the injury list and deactivated to then being on the team again, and now he's cut. So I think that it's safe to say that that experiment has run its course. For one, the roster spots on this team are extremely valuable. The better we get, the more valuable they become. If you watched last week, me and Daniel Murphy sat down and we did a roster gymnastics episode. One thing's for sure, if you watched that, you came away thinking, man, there are like 5 to 10 spots on this team that could go a number of ways. And it's going to be very interesting to see what Joe does over the next month or so. And as we start seeing some of these roster bubble guys play in the preseason, as well as play in our practice scrimmages that we have three of each of those. So overall, we'll have plenty of ball to see these guys really separate themselves from one another. But back to Bawden. For one, he's just too one dimensional. And I think that there's a handful of guys on this team that actually they can do his job. Regardless of what route we go, I do want to show you just a couple of the clerical moves that we made today. That way you know what I'm talking about. Right here, you can see Nick Faria broke the news, at least to me, about us cutting Bawden. Another thing to note, though, this Anthony Ferkser starts off with Buffalo Jet fan here. He says Anthony Ferkser immediately becomes the second most accomplished tight end on the Jets roster. He can do fullback duties and play special teams. Tight end 3, fullback, special teamer. See, that three-headed approach is exactly what will get you on this roster. We need guys that can do multiple jobs because we really need that underneath spot to be very versatile. But then let me go on and show you some stuff that Dom C said, who is very trustworthy. Berkshire signing sends me two specific messages. Jeremy Ruckert was never going to handle the H-back role, and that's the role that's what I was foreseeing. And mainly just because I wanted to free that, like I wanted that roster spot. I did not feel that Bawden deserved to have a spot all to himself doing what he gives us. So. And then number 2, Dom says, Kenny Yeboah better have a crazy few preseason games because his roster spot is not locked down. So Dom is reading into that Ferkser signing and seeing what Ferkser does well and then applying it to our current roster and where Ferkser could actually compete with guys. And I do like that vision there by Dom. But anyways, something to watch. I think everybody's looking at the top of the roster, but for me, that middle is it's gonna be everything because it's gonna apply to special teams. It's gonna apply to how good we are should we suffer a few injuries. So definitely one to watch. But I do want to point out one last note here. In 2023, only 12 teams have used a fullback for offensive snaps. Only 10 of those have played more than 10% of the snaps. So I don't like I said, when we weren't as good, it was a little easier to justify being one of those dozen teams or so. But now that we're getting better, so should the fullback. And I don't believe that we had one that was so good that it just demanded being a presence on this team. So we're going to go the path of getting versatile guys, and if and when we need a fullback, third and goal on the one, etc., I'm confident in us putting a guy like Ruckert out there. Who knows? Maybe a like a six lineman out there. Regardless, this spot being created, it's gonna help in the end. Hopefully you found a piece or two of this video that you hadn't already seen or that opened your eyes like it opened mine. Have a good evening, guys, and go Jets.